I go in my closet, true story. I took the money and I threw it up in the air. This was all cash. There was
Making it rain.
It was in the closet by myself. I closed the door and I just throw it up in the air. I'm like, I'm rich. Actually, I'm in danger right now. I think about it. I'm an 8-time national barefoot water ski champion. I'm a downhill mountain biker.
Okay, and the rocket.
Whoa! I'm 74 years old. I'm on fire.
I'm Jeanette, Vice President of Marketing at Trade Hounds here at IEC Spark in Phoenix, and I'm very excited to introduce you to Mike Holt. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're a huge deal. Like, I've been in the industry a few years now, and in our Trade Hounds app, whenever people ask, like, who should I go to learn about electrical, or who should I go to learn about the trades, I just see your name over and over and over again. And so for anyone who's maybe new to the industry, or maybe a young person coming into the industry who just may not have heard of Mike Holt, tell me, who are you?
I'm Mike at MikeHolt.com.
And what is MikeHolt.com?
You know, I've been training electricians for over 50 years. And I have a wonderful organization, Mike Holt Enterprises. And we produce books, videos, curriculum for apprenticeship programs, individuals passing their exams, people learning the trade, coming in the trade. And that's the fundamental things that we do.
What inspired you to start teaching others?
I was an electrician, and I got a young girl pregnant when I was 17. I was in a gang in Miami, and I wanted to be an astronaut in 60 something. And so now I have to be a dad. And so I lied, or a friend of mine lied to get me a job as an electrician, so I had to get a career of some kind. And then I found out they have licensing and journeyman licensing, and you can make more money. So I started studying, but there were no books, there were no videos, obviously. There was no technology. And I just started studying with a couple of the individuals, and the three of us passed. But I was told that you couldn't pass the test because it was rigged, it was all set up back in the 60s or 70s, and I didn't know, but I passed. And my wife at the time, she was teaching at an adult education class at nighttime, and I passed, and we're all shocked. And my buddies passed. She goes, I was like, man, I feel bad because these other electricians could get licensed, they can make more money, but they're all told you can't, so they just don't try. And there was no training material. She goes, well, why don't you teach a class? I'm like, I'm an electrician, I'm not a teacher. So she said, well, come to the high school and talk to the adult education, or the college actually, Nova University. And I went there and they said, well, we can advertise it. We'll see what happens. My very first night, we met in the cafetorium, and they had the signs, guitar, florists, belly dancing, you know what I mean, all the different school classrooms, and they're gonna have a general conversation to all the students. I'm sitting there and I'm 22 years old, and I'm sitting there by myself. I got there early, and I'm sitting there and I'm freaking out. And everybody comes in and they're all like, who's this teacher? Who's the teacher? And I'm sitting there, and I didn't have a mustache at the time. I grew a mustache that night because I was 22, and everybody was like much older than me. And they had just passed a requirement that inspectors had to be licensed, and they weren't licensed. And they had to get licensed within a period of time. So I had 12 electrical inspectors in my class. I had 80 students, my very first class. And in 3 months, and I still have it, I wrote a book on exam preparation. And I still have the original pages with the Corona Smith wipe out and tighten it back and everything in there. And so we just started from there. And then I became an electrical contractor, went to University of Miami for an MBA. I came back, I looked at supply and demand curves and economics, and I realized I think I can do things in training. That's what I felt the passion to help people. So it started there, then I got with magazine, ECNM magazine in 1980. I'm still with them 45 years later. I started writing books, and a publisher called me in 1990 to write a book. I wrote a book in the year 2000. There was a little bit of a legal issue there, and I then became a publisher. We were able to get our copyrights back. And so starting in 2000, I'm a publisher. And fortunately, the publisher that had my book got the books in all these schools. So when they had to give me the rights back, I just called the shipping department. I said, hey, listen, you guys have to buy the books from me now, not from them. Could you send me the list of all the people that buy the books? They go, sure, Mike. So they emailed me the list. So overnight, I became a publisher. I'm like, So that's been this crazy story.
Quite the entrepreneur.
Yeah, I didn't realize that when the very first class I taught, somebody contacted me about leaving the school for free at nighttime, 2 nights a week, and go work for them on Saturdays. So I talked and negotiated with them. We had a deal, and they said they want to pay me whatever it was, and they want to give me something on profit. I said, I'm only like 22 years old. I'm thinking, I want it on gross, total sales, not the percentage of profit. I would get a smaller percentage, but at least we know what it was. And I went to my classroom, and I sat on top of this oak desk with cut-off shorts and sneakers and T-shirt coming from the job, sitting there and put my leg, crossed up, sitting on there. Hey guys, listen, I'm going to be leaving after this semester, and I'm going to be teaching. No, you got to go in your own business, Mike. You got to do. I'm like, So I go to break after a while. And the inspectors are all telling me I have a gift about teaching. I should do my own business. I'm like, So I come back to the classroom after the break, back sitting on top of the desk, cross-legged. I said, listen, everybody's telling me I should go in my own business. I should be doing this and that. I made up a number. I said, well, if I charge $150, there's 80 people in the class, and you don't pass this class, if I charge $150, how many of you would actually take my class? And so already in the beginning, I'm gathering information. 50 people raised their hand. And I'm like, if it had been 3 people, right? But it was 50, so I'm like, I go home, I'm thinking about it. 50 people at $150, that's $7,500. That was like a third of my, if not almost half of my income. So I go back, I tell the people, I'm not going to business. I'm gonna do my own business. So I organized a class, wrote the book for the class in 3 months. The very first class comes by, I printed 50 books. I didn't know who's gonna show up. And at that time I said, show up and take 1 class for free. And if you come back the next week, then you pay the money. There was no credit cards. Everything was cash. The following week, by the way, the first night, 50 people showed up. I didn't even have a book. I had to give everybody a book. And I'm like, okay. The following week, everybody came back. They all gave me $150 cash. I go in my closet, true story. I took the money and I threw it up in the air. It was all cash. There was no credit. It was in the closet by myself. I closed the door and I just throw it up in the air. I'm like, I'm rich. And then I didn't realize I have to pay for the coffee. I got to pay for the meeting room. I got to pay for the printing costs. When you first go into business, you don't realize that you actually have costs that's associated with that. So I just had the natural desire to serve, and that's what I am. I like it. I like knowing what I struggled with and the content I studied. There was no studying material. The graphics were not good. It was more engineering at that time in the early 70s because nobody was writing for electricians. So when I started writing the book, I wanted to write as an electrician for an electrician. I make the graphics to scale. And so that's what I still had that same passion, is I want to take the next generation. And today's generation, which nothing wrong, they're impatient. They don't want to have all this other information. I don't need to know about that. I want to know, what do I need to know right now? What is it going to be relevant to me? And so we're very relevant as a company. I love this generation, Z and Alpha. I just think they're cool. I just think there's a lot of energy going there.
I think they think you're cool too, by the way. I see them talking about you all the time.
They do. And that's so funny. I tell Brian, who works with me all the time, I'm like, it's crazy. Because I'm an Instagram guy, okay? Mm-hmm. You would think I'd be like a LinkedIn person, right? I'm not LinkedIn. I'm not Facebook. I'm not LinkedIn. I'm not TikTok. I'm into Instagram. I want to see the jobs. I like the energy that's there, that youth. And because I'm a little crazy. I'm just, that's just the way I am. And so, but I do feel that I see the young people, and it's really sweet.
How do you feel about, it sounds like you were teaching a lot of people, even from the very beginning, but now with like digital websites, apps, you're able to reach so many people. Like, how does that feel that that you have been able to make such a big impact on so many people's lives?
I find it to be weird. Like Brian, who works with me, he probably understands better than I do because I'm a little confused. I'm like, I don't understand. Everybody wants to make a big deal. They want to take a picture of me. They thank me. A lot of times they're crying. Or their wives are appreciative because he works so hard, and their family and the kids, and they show me the kids, and so it's a very moving thing. To know that, and even people that I don't know, that don't have a physical connection, but they watch my videos, and I'll do crazy videos. Like the other day, I went into a tree, I got all bruised up, and mountain biking, and I said, hey, this is what happened. Look at the track, you can see what here. Don't give up. I'm 74 years old, I'm on fire. Okay, let's go. No excuses, let's just keep moving, okay? And so if you're not licensed, get your license. So I post that, and then I get some nice messages like, Mike, I needed that. So even though I maybe can't physically be in a class, I still teach classes. Our classes in Florida are typically 700, 900 people, which is pretty large for most organizations. And they've been taking my classes, a couple people been taking my classes for 50 years. Still my class, 50 years later. And so it's a family. I get to connect with them. The young people are direct messaging me or making comments. So I still feel the connection. And I don't do it for money. Like I tell people all the time, and I tell people, I don't have a girlfriend, okay? I got a wife. And they're looking at me like, do you know what that means? They're like, no, I don't need money. If I had a girlfriend, well, that's gonna be a problem. I gotta spend a lot of money on her. I gotta spend a lot of time with her. I gotta get distracted. That's what you gotta do if you get a girlfriend.
Is your wife supportive of what you do?
My wife's great. Yeah, and I travel and I work hard, and you have to have that. You have to have a team, and so having the team, and I don't have a girlfriend, and I came from a poor background, and I don't care about money. So the only thing that drives me, my daughter asked me yesterday, 2 days ago, she goes, Dad, I am on fire, but I'm always on fire, okay? But I'm probably a little bit more on fire than I normally am. And technically, I'm a little sharper than I've ever been. And I think part of that is that some of the work that I had to do that was mechanical work, I'm not having to do, having a little bit more free time. But why are you so on fire? I'm bored.
You get to do what you love now.
I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'm bored doing some of those things. And so now I can explore.
Yeah.
I can do more on social media. I can do more new products. I can get more new things. And I just get all excited. And, and I tell you what, you know how you can make the most amount of money in your entire life? The number one thing you can make the most amount of money.
How?
They tell me, what do you think is the number one thing you can do to make the most amount of money?
I have so many things popped up, and I was like, can't say that on camera.
It's not what you think.
I can't say that on camera. I can't say that on camera.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Okay, right. So we'll move away from that. Okay. Are you ready for it? I'll tell you what it is. You ready for this?
Yes.
You ready? Stay healthy.
Oh, actually, that's a really good point. My whole team now, because we're traveling so much and we're doing so much work, we're like, we need to sleep, we need to eat right, we need to get our vitamins. We are really athletes. We treat our jobs like you would treat your athletes. I love that. Stay healthy.
If you see my Strava, and I'm on Strava, if you take a look at my recorded effort, you will see my numbers are astronomically high over the last 2 years. The last 3 months, they're astronomically high. And I'm telling Brian, because of my fitness, because of my health, and I'm not no, I just eat well. I don't eat, I just eat well. I'm not one of those people that, no, I eat well. I take care of myself. My fitness, I think, is dramatically, and I've always been relatively fit. I'm pretty good. I'm an 8-time national barefoot water ski champion.
What?
I'm a downhill mountain biker.
Okay, and the rocket. Whoa.
So, I'm always into the edgy, adrenaline rushy things, right? But my fitness has moved up, and that's what I've been working on. And that allows me to think better, to bend over, twist over, do something, make an effort, and it's no effort. So if people will take care of their health, like you said, sleep, get your sleep, eat well, and you're gonna make more money.
That is such a good tip. I was going to ask you, like, is there any other tip that you want to share before we wrap up? But I mean, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
You know what? I think you have to be hungry. You have to have a passion.
Yeah.
You know, and I do. Okay, what is your ultimate goal? Are you ready for my ultimate goal? When I'm like a little old guy, when I'm in the nursing home, I'm gonna be, I'm a flirt. Okay, I'll be flirting with all the nurses. I'll be talking to all the nurses. They'll be coming in and talking to me because I'm going to be so cute, because I'm going to be so sweet, and I'll have some wisdom and some experience, and I'm just going to be a cute little guy. That's my goal.
Everyone needs a goal in life.
My ultimate goal.
So
and,
congratulations.
and also, before I get to that little spot, I might be like not being able to ride my bike, so I'm going to get an electric tricycle with a flag. Okay? So when I'm riding down maybe 20 miles on a tricycle, you know what I mean? And I'll be like waving to people. In other words, I'm gonna stay on fire.
Way to go.
I'm just gonna keep going.
I
And
love
Brian says I'm like a funny car drag racer. The last race, I'm just gonna take off, I'm gonna win the race, and then just gonna explode. And it's done. That's what I'm hoping for.
I love that for you. I love that. You're such an inspiring person. Getting to talk to you has been so wonderful. You've energized me.
Yeah.
You energize so many people out there. And on behalf of everybody who I know reads your stuff, watches your video, follows you, I just want to thank you for everything you do to make people feel excited about it and learn and improve their lives and improve their livelihood for their families. And it's really such an honor to be able to sit down with you, and I can't thank you enough for your time. And I know everyone upstairs who got to meet you is really excited, and everyone's gonna be talking about it. And
It's fun. It's fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's fun helping people, right?
Yeah.
Serving others. That's pretty cool.
Well, thank you for your time. It was such a pleasure, and I'm excited to see all the wonderful things you go on to create.
Yep.
And thanks for sharing all of your energy with all of us.
Thank you.